This episode of NFT podcast Ars Cryptotica is brought to you by Uptick. Uptick is an industry leader in the NFT marketplace in terms of functionality, infrastructure, and more. Choose from digital art, photography, collectible cards, MP4 video, tickets, and soon MP3 audio NFT formats. Mint on various chains and switch between multiple chains. Download the NFT mobile marketplace app with built-in wallets or go to upticknft.com and set up an account with the Kepler wallet extension. Also, check out their Telegram and Discord for more details like the current Uptick token testnet, which is live. Whatever your need for NFTs, Uptick has you covered. Radio, welcome back to NFT podcast, Ars Cryptotica. This is episode 27. Our special guest today is Andy Morton, aka SCRAWLZY. Thanks for being on the show, Andy. How's life?
Thank you for having me. Life's good. Life's good. No complaints.
Awesome. Looks like a sunny day there. So I really wanted to get you on the show to talk about NFT marketplaces. Currently, I see you're on Foundation and Known Origin. And when I mentioned a while back that I'd love to have you on Uptick, you said you're kind of exclusive to Known Origin. So I really wanted to find out what you love about Known Origin and why you'd hesitate to try something else.
Okay, yeah, that's it all came about originally. So I waited to start my journey until I'd actually got onto Foundation. Foundation's marketing is realistically just through emails, but those emails help. Obviously, you've got collectors that are watching. They get an email when a new piece is released. You've got people that follow you on there that may be interested in just waiting for the right piece, or maybe they were waiting for some sales so they could collect, whatever the case may be. So the emails work really, really well. But that was kind of the end of the line for the platform at the time. So when Known Origin came along, for me, they were accessible because they're based in the UK, which helps in terms of accessibility and different things that they do, i.e. different shows, different events. And I like the UI on the platform. It's easy to use. There are a few features on there that are really useful where you can embed an NFT inside another NFT.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're maybe doing a series of editions and maybe they're a special edition, you want to give an extra NFT to those collectors of those editions to commemorate, say, an anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So your 1 anniversary, 2 year, whatever the case within the space, you can do so. For me, I've been to the last show I went to was in Birmingham, UK, which was a show between the Birmingham Contemporary Art Gallery and Known Origin, where several of the staff were there and one of the founders, and it was a fantastic show. They were there to try and bridge that gap between the traditional world and the NFT world. And for me, I just like what they're doing. I like how they support artists. I like how, they concentrate on using their Twitter platform to bring light to artist drops or Genesis pieces and different things that artists have got going on. They have curators for different mediums, AI for painting, for all sorts of different mediums. These curators are community members and artists themselves,
mm-hmm.
which helps then bring artists more into the Web3 world, not just by doing art. They've got different things that they need, they can look at whether they want to try curating if they haven't done that before. It gives them different options and different avenues to look at, and it helps highlight new artists coming into the space, or artists that have been here quite some time. For argument's sake, Kevin Page is the AI ambassador, and today I know they got a AI movie space,
mm-hmm.
and they're pushing the boundaries forward, and Known Origin have been really, really big at pushing that. My exclusivity came about, and that was just a choice I made myself, because at the time, the amount of platforms or established platforms were limited. I liked how AI worked. I liked the interaction that I get with them, and I can reach out and have a person-to-person conversation, you know, like that if need be, you know, if there are problems or issues. So I made that choice to be exclusive on there because of the way it worked. Fees were nominal, so that's important for artists, because ultimately, you know, when you're selling your work, if you're losing 50% of it, or, you know, 20-30% in fees, it adds up. And a lot of people are solely based in terms of paying bills and stuff on what they make with their art. So a big chunk of it is, you know, is not good. Fees for very little. And as I say, the UI works. I can speak to them at any point in time, and they do put a lot of effort into the shows that they, you know, they attend and they create around the UK. And I know they've been abroad to the US and a few different places, so they're branching out to where they go. And that was the reason I was exclusive. I felt comfortable with how they were doing things, and how, you know, how they try and push forward the artists. And it's not to say in the future I won't look at other platforms. They will, and I'm seeing a lot of emerging platforms, you know, coming out, and they're trying to push forward and trying to do you know, things for artists to help out, and I think that's great. But the collection I've got at the moment, that is purely based on known origin, and I've made that known. But not to say in future that they won't change and they won't go you know, over to another platform with a special collection for that platform. So obviously, when you asked at the time, that's kind of the situation I'm in.
I see. That's great. Great to hear. Hey, I want to hear, I've got some follow-up questions there. So those shows, is it like physical art and also screens, and then they're you know, funding the screens and putting a lot of money into that, or how do they support artists at these shows?
The Birmingham one, there was physical art there because it's a contemporary art gallery. There were the digital screens for the event for the NFTs. As to what amount of funding that Known Origin have put into each event, I'm not 100% sure, but there are events that they created. So they had a Known Origin Soul NFT event up in Manchester. Obviously, that was funded by themselves, and that was quite large. So there were artists there creating physical pieces on canvas. Obviously, then there was the NFT screens, digital screens of all the NFTs on. There was live DJ and various other bits of entertainment, and obviously that was solely funded by Known Origin. Not being a member of Known Origin's team at all, so I can't really say kind of how much they're putting into it. But there's a lot of effort gone into the shows that they've been doing.
Cool. It's good to see. Good to see. You were talking about fees before, so I guess on Known Origin, how does it work? You mint your stuff in ETH, or you use something else?
Yeah, it's minted in ETH. And there was so at the time when I was on Foundation, there were several fees. You paid to mint, you paid to list, then you paid to settle. As with Known Origin, there's one fee, and that's your minting fee, and that is it.
Yeah.
So for me, that worked a lot better, and for many other people as well.
What do you think about minting on other blockchains? You know, there's some blockchains where you don't have any gas fees, or it's negligible. Are you interested in that, or you don't think that's a real NFT?
No, it's I'm open to see. I'm not. I'm open to all blockchains, and I think we should diversify. I'm not gonna, I'm not an ETH maxi. I'm not, I don't see the point in that personally. I think we do need to explore the different blockchains and the different platforms. I've been looking myself into Solana. I've been looking into Tezos, and various platforms on those blockchains.
Yeah,
and I'll continue to explore. But I like to, before I dive in, I'd like to deep dive and learn as much as I can, because if I'm going into it blind, I'm not doing myself any favors. And then if anybody asks me a question, I'm not doing them any favors, but just saying, yeah, I just jumped on it and it's this. I think as part of the community, we have a duty to not just offer random advice. We need to know the answer. And if we don't, just say, look, I don't know the answer, but maybe go and try this person, or this is where I found some information, and direct them that way.
Hey, you mentioned the embedding part. I just wanted to clarify that. So you're just like airdropping gifts to people who have collected your work before, or some commemorative moment, or what exactly was the embedding part?
So the embedding, what you can do, so when you mint your NFT, you can then mint a second NFT behind that NFT. So for argument's sake, I've got a one of one, and I've added maybe there's a variant to it, and I wanted to add maybe that variant with a color change, or whatever the case. So the collector then has both. So they bid, or they put in an offer on the initial one of one, but when they win, or when the offer is accepted, they get both NFTs. So it's almost like a buy one get one free, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Cool. You said that Nord Origin helps you promote quite a bit, but I guess you also have to promote your own work, and you mainly do that through Twitter and Twitter Spaces, or what's the best way to promote your work? Have you found?
Well, I concentrate on Twitter a lot. I am on Instagram, but I don't use it a vast amount. I've started to pick up in the pace on Instagram and start to use it a bit more, but I'm really comfortable on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for many years, and with my own personal account. So, you know, I prefer that. I like Spaces because we get to have the conversations, like, you know, similar to what we're having here. And for me, that's valuable. I always try and explain to anybody new coming in, you know, we need to remember that we are people behind the PFPs and behind the photographs. You know, we're not just robots, we're not selling machines, we're not just collecting machines or tweet machines. We are people, and that connection is needed. So yes, I concentrate on Twitter a lot, Spaces if I can. Outside of that, I make connections, you know, where I've got direct contact to different artists and collectors, due to, you know, the personal connection that you can make through Spaces, and just the conversations. Because often I avoid chill spaces. It's not my thing. I'm not saying everybody should avoid them. You know, we're all different, and it's all personal preference. But I like the discussion spaces. I like to, you know, talk about blockchain, or I like to talk about poetry, or, you know, how art pieces are made, and where things are going, you know, different platform conversations. So for me, that's what I concentrate on.
Cool. Yeah, personally, I think the spaces are good, and I think it's really important to hear the artist's voice, make the connection. You know, it's not just some AI bot pumping the stuff out, like you said.
Yeah.
But I'm busy. I don't mind listening, but, you know, I'm on the train, or I'm sitting with my family, and then like I get asked to speak, and it's just like I don't want to. It just, yeah, it's a pretty big commitment when you get invited to get involved. But I do like listening in the background now and then. It's good. It's good. Huh.
It can be a lot, you know, the all-encompassing space, which is Web3 and NFT, because, you know, if you're an artist, and you do marketing, and then you've got to do all these different jobs in between. So I can understand, and having, you know, family myself and work, it can be quite a lot. So I'm quite selective with Spaces, or I allow a certain amount of time per week for me to, you know, be able to speak. But other than that, I'll have an earphone in, you know, while I'm doing different things, and listen, take things in.
Cool. Okay, I did want to ask you a bit about your art. In your bio, it says you've been making art for about 30 years, but you know, I only know the NFT part, and it's fairly new thing. So could you tell me a little bit about how you got started, and what you've all tried, and your story?
Yeah. So I started art as a young lad back in school, very much encouraged by my parents and my grandparents. My granddad was a big influence in constantly pushing me to just have a go. You know, there'd always, if we go to my grandparents on a regular basis every week, and there'd always be paper and glue and crayons and scissors, and you know, it'd be like getting the glue out and trying to see if sand would stick to it, and, you know, or whatever the case. He'd always encourage me to just find anything I could and create something with it. And then I started to pick up books that he kind of either bought for me or he'd been to the library and got different books and different artists, and to show me those, and I'd start to get interested, and we'd start to explore kind of my vision of their work. We'd do like little I suppose, yeah, you call them art studies. I obviously didn't realize it at the time, and it just carried on from there. And throughout my time, I've created a few pieces for different people, obviously physical pieces. When people have asked, they've seen some work shown by myself or family members, and they've liked it, and they've asked me to create some. But most of the time, my art was for my own personal reasons. For me, art is therapy, on the most part, and helps you kind of make sense of things and get things out. And I've spent a lot of years collecting sketch pads and different things over the years, full of sketches, doodles, complete pieces, different ideas. I've transitioned all over the place and tried different styles, comic books, and cartoons, illustrations, straight up traditional style portraits, black and whites, and charcoals. But I do have a thing for kind of neo-expressionism, is one of my main passions, and like George Condo's style of cubism. Anything that's out the ordinary and leaves a bit more freedom to create. I'm not one for stringent lines, and I was never like that. I just kind of went from there, and then I took art in high school, left high school, and then went off to be an engineer after high school, but I still kept creating after that. And I've created on metal, I've created on all sorts of different things, bit of street art, my time.
Have you got it all in one place? Like on your link tree there's a gallery, but I couldn't figure it out. It's like is that complete? I'd love to see, the progression of your work all in one site. And I think collectors would like to see that too. Is that something you're working on, or is that available?
Yeah, I'm trying to. So with obviously over the years, things get lost and you move house and different things. I moved kind of a couple of hours from where I grew up now, and different bits. But the art I do have, the physical works from over the years, the plan is to collate all that into a digital and then create a gallery from that. The gallery I've got at the moment is literally just, they are the pieces that I've sold since the NFT space. Just kind of sectioned off into a bit of a timeline, or maybe I think the one corner is more color based, depending on obviously how they go around. But yeah, so the plan is to collate some of the original physical pieces into digital and then put that in a gallery to show a progression over the time. But imagine that takes some time, because then I've got to curate my own. I've got to look through the pieces, and I know what they are, and I know what my idea was with that piece, and maybe it's just a sketch, and then if I can find the rest of the sketches that went with it and followed on, so it takes some time. But, I'm not here for the short term, I'm here for the long term, so I'm quite happy working on that as and when I have chance.
So the ones you're making now, you're doing that on a computer, or how are you making those?
So the ones that I've currently got, they are created digitally. The house that I live in at the moment doesn't have facility for me to kind of get large canvases out and wait for summertime so I can get out in the garden. I'll put obviously the canvas out in the garden. I'm set up for that, and then I will paint some physicals. But at the moment they're a mixture, so I'll take maybe abstract style background that I've got, digitally photograph that, and then I will add the digital portrait to it, or I'll take sections of a physical that I've got a photograph of and add that in, and then enhance it with digital painting.
I like your work, the what I've seen so far. It struck me that you don't seem to have names for individual pieces. Is that right?
Some are. There are quite a few that are untitled, but majority do have titles. If you on Foundation, most of those will have particular titles.
Okay.
The way I create, I don't really kind of go into it preconceived. I will just have, I'll be like, okay, I've got, you know, I know I've got time to create. I've got that energy that I need, and I'll just literally just attack the canvas or the digital canvas, and I'll just start, and I'll carry on till I finish. Most part. So I never kind of think of a title and a subject matter. I much prefer the freedom of just hitting the canvas and seeing what comes out.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I was just wondering, you know, if you want to promote it, like I've got a new one out, and if there's no name, it's kind of hard to, you know, to market it that way, I thought.
It can be. It doesn't lend itself well to marketing, but I like, because I know that at the moment what I do is quite unique, and I like to create market through conversations. Every piece that I make, I hope that it can either inspire someone, or it can create some conversation from it that will trickle down and maybe inspire someone else to try something new, or, you know, try some new colors, or try and push some boundaries. And that's more of my marketing at the moment, is creating that conversation from the art that I do.
I see. And you said today that you know, art's kind of therapy for you, as it is for a lot of people. And I think also in your bio it says that you want to create conversation through art and create art through conversation, you know, both ways. So essentially you're trying to help people out. Am I reading that right? Yeah.
Yeah, art has helped me a lot over the years. And the bigger picture for what I'm doing is that I want to create a local community studio. So the plan for the studio is to allow, you know, children, teenagers, young adults, and adults to come have a safe place to create, keep them off the streets, keep them from getting into trouble, you know, allowing them to feel free to, because it's a safe space. The plan, I'm going to try and work with a local government to have counsellors and options for counselling, so they've got that place to have that safe conversation. They can feel safe to talk about what's going on in their life that maybe shouldn't be going on, or, you know, the trouble that they've been getting in, or how to turn their life around. And for me, that's important, because there aren't many places like that. And especially when I was growing up, you know, and I feel like that's needed, you know, with the world we live in now. And it's so, you know, it's easier for people to get in trouble now, and it's easier for kids to, you know, go the wrong way.
So many are neglected, man. It's crazy. I think there's, like, you know, they don't even have parents that they can talk to. I think half the time the parents these days just want to be left alone. It's sad. They need help.
That's the plan, you know, and that's what I want to do. I'm a long way off that, but I know that, and I know what I'm working towards, and I know it's going to take time. But I'd rather it take time and be done right than, you know, rushed into it and not have all the things available that I need for the project.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's see, do you have any questions about Uptick? Or another topic was, I wanted to see what you thought was kind of missing in the NFT space. Are there some functions, features, or things that the digital marketplaces haven't released yet that you'd like to see?
I'd like to see, I mean, ultimately, I'd like to see marketplaces supporting creators more. You know, I'd like to see marketplaces also support collectors more, because a lot of the search functions, you know, you take OpenSea, and this is no way, you know, me ragging on OpenSea, but the search functions are, you know, they're not great. You know, if an artist is trying to search for a particular thing, but then that also comes down to what you were saying about naming, because if the artist isn't clicking that their art is an abstract, well, it's never going to come up in the search, no matter what they do. I definitely like to see more support from platforms, you know, more dedicated curation to not just big artists, but go right down to the new, or to the artists that have been there some time, and platforms to look at their artists and go, okay, this artist maybe has kind of slipped by and nobody's noticed him. Let's try and help and speak to the artist, and you know, try and guide them on how to market their work, you know, and how to be seen. Because ultimately, if we're not being seen, then, you know, as artists, they're not going to sell. I'd like to see artists having more guided spaces, having more ways to teach young artists to, you know, how to create. learn about crypto, and I think this is important. I think we should be doing this in school, because
Yeah.
crypto is here today. It's not going anywhere. And I think platforms in whatever country they are, I think they should be, trying to help schools learn and trying to get into teaching the young kids that it's okay to be different. It's okay to create art this way. You don't have to create like Van Gogh. You don't have to create, full-on clay models or whatever the case may be for this style and that stuff. And I think they have a responsibility to do that. But whether they do that is a different story. Optic, I've had a quick look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite interested, and I think my plan is, and I was going to ask, is this something that they speak about a lot in Spaces? Is this something that they're trying to teach the community about going forward? Do they hold many Twitter Spaces and different groups?
Not officially, no. Basically, they communicate with people through their Telegram channel. They've also got a Discord because they have some test nets running live, but they don't do that. I guess the team is very efficient, but I don't think they have the resources that some of the other platforms have. But they get stuff done, and maybe they do some outsourcing of different tasks too. They're pretty lean, but they're very good at what they do. But it's a good idea. I think maybe there should be some more Twitter Spaces or more contact to the community that way.
I think verbal communication helps a lot. Not everybody's got time to read, or they get sidetracked while they're reading if the kids are running around, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
So verbal communication does really help. I'll dig in some more, because as I say, I am interested in the platform and what they're trying to do. The bit that I managed to read anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll dig in a bit more, and if I can maybe try and help in Spaces or anyway, because at the end of the day, as I said, I like to. The more we all help each other, the better it is. And even if I can kind of help with an half-an-hour space and maybe get some information out there, it gets some more ears on the project, and it helps. And I think we should all be trying to kind of push this forward. And the more we grow the space, the more people that come in, the better it is for everybody concerned, ultimately.
Totally.
So I'll dig in a bit more, and I can always reach out to them. I'll join the Discord. I can always reach out and see, if this is something we can kind of maybe do.
Nice. Yeah, so just make sure everything's clear. The Discord is mainly for the testnet stuff, not for NFT related things. Yeah. The Telegram is mainly where the NFT stuff is. They also do have a like monthly or bi-weekly Medium article, either on updates or featuring artists. But like you said, not everyone has time for reading. Okay, I had another question for you, actually. So you were talking about what you'd like to see, and I wanted to ask a two-part question. So in known origin, what's the collector scene like? Are there a lot of big name collectors who are flipping works and making a lot of money that way, and also like promoting the artist because it helps them, turn a profit? And also, is there like a dealer scene? Like, are people kind of like, collecting or recommending, or do you see either of those things going on?
I don't see a mass amount of a dealer scene. On the whole, the community, obviously, collectors will, they promote artists, and different artists promote other artists, and things get bought like that. Collectors, I don't know the ratio from known origin to, say, Foundation or to OpenSea or to Super Rare. I'm not 100%, but from experience, from my own collectors, my collectors will promote me. My collectors have followed from Foundation over to known origin. They haven't gone, okay, I'm only buying on this platform and I'm not coming over there. They have followed me from one to the other. And from personal experience, my collectors have promoted me, and they will regularly let everybody know when I'm trending on known origin and I'm on front page. They'll let people know when I've got a new piece out. But that's, again, back to community. But yeah, I honestly don't know the answer, and I wouldn't like to venture a guess, because I wouldn't be doing anybody any favors.
I see. Okay, cool. If there's nothing else, maybe we'll wrap it up there. Maybe I want to keep in touch, and maybe we can do a Twitter space someday. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you very much. And anytime you need anything, just let me know.